Hey everyone, so for the evening reflection or meditation today, I chose a psalm from one of the apps that I use, and it's basically looking at how the queen will be desired by the king for her beauty. So for the evening meditation, I would invite you to place yourself in that psalm for the women, and to see yourself as desired by God, as loved by God, as cherished by God, in your own home, adorned in beautiful garments, and to think about the qualities that God has given you, the qualities that make your life precious, that make your life whole, that make your life worth living. And that's a very beautiful passage. I'm actually glad it came up in my app today. And it's one of the apps that I use. It's a daily prayer app. I also follow along with Vespers, evening Vespers, and I follow the Mass online, different Masses. So we have St. Michael's here, the cathedral. We have the daily TV Mass, but there's Mass from all over the world. EWTN has a Mass. The Marians, they have a Mass. So there's many different ways that you can participate in the Mass, and you can do an act of spiritual communion if you're not able to go to church, to invite Jesus to unite with you and to never be permitted to be separated from him. That's the prayer I say. I don't say the one they use on the daily TV Mass. I use those lines, never permit me to be separated from you, because then it's submitting to the Lord, and it's knowing that the Lord is in control. Jesus is in control, and asking him not to allow anything or anyone to separate me from him, and that I'm one with him in that act of spiritual communion. So I wanted to share that quickly as a way to say that's something you can enter into for your evening meditation, and to know that the King desires your beauty. The Lord desires your beauty. And you are in your home, you are clothed, you are adorned in lovely garments, and to give praise to God for that, to give thanks to God for that desire he has for us as his children, as his women. We belong to Christ. And for today, I think that's a good thing to reflect on, especially with all the turmoil in the world, all the war, all the things that people are fighting against, activists and all these things. It's a good way to just come into God's presence and to give thanks and to give praise and to focus on the beauty of our lives as women, and to take that into our prayer. You can journal about it if you want, or you can just pray with it, whatever moves you about that psalm. I went out for a walk this evening because the weather cleared up nicely, and I came back, and lo and behold, as I walked in the door, I got a stupid message about no one's going to hire you. You need to go and have a mental health check. You've got psychiatric problems and all this rubbish. So unfortunately, these things are more common than we think. And the police even got a hold of criminals. They basically hijacking people's numbers and they bouncing them off towers. And then those messages get sent to us. We get targeted. So that's unfortunate. But I called the number. I left a message to tell people that I got this message, and I just wanted to inform them. And then I blocked and deleted it. So we're already halfway through the year, and I still don't have any work. And I mean, I am getting interviews, but I don't know why companies are taking so long. And I also don't know why I'm not getting anything full-time and permanent, because there are jobs out there and I've got good skills, I've got good qualifications, but this is very frustrating. And I'm also applying for jobs in Zimbabwe. If anybody knows of jobs in the schools, you can recommend me. You can put my name forward, because a lot of people are moving back now. They're moving back to the countries they came from because there's no work here. And the people that are getting the jobs through referrals and through their network. For me, I don't get that. People refer me for jobs and I don't seem to get selected. So I'm applying on my own, and those are the jobs I'm getting interviews for, not the ones where people are giving me referrals. So I don't know why that is, but I hope that one of them falls into place for me, because the reality is that even now, with all the push that's coming out of America for people to eat healthy, to grow healthy food, that's going to result in a lot less people going to places like McDonald's and Tim Hortons and Starbucks, because there's a big push from America to eat at home, to eat healthy. So it's going to become more like how the UK is, where you go out once in a while as a treat, and it's not like you go every day and pick up your Starbucks or your Tim Hortons, because that's what I notice people do here. And it's a very different culture compared to when you come from England, because every day people are going, before they go to work, they're stopping at Starbucks or they're stopping at Tim Hortons. So it's big money. And then the other thing they do is they push that. Then when people end up obese and eating all the junk that's in the food, then they want to prescribe medications. So it becomes a vicious circle. And when you push back against it, they don't like it. But now it's going to change, because it's not coming from me. It's not coming from Belinda. It's coming from their own leaders at the highest levels in America. And once that push comes from America, it's going to come into the rest of the world, and things are going to change. But for me, I'm not impressed with Canada. I'm not impressed with the lack of support. I'm not impressed with how the US employers treat workers when they outsource the work. And I mean, basically, I'm not happy. And life is too short to not be happy. Because when I came here, I had a vision for my life, for a better life. I had a desire to work hard, to get into a good paid job, and to build a career. And I have not been able to do that. So, for me, it's like the tests are biased, because those tests that they're putting out for companies, they're saying they're high school tests. But whose high school? Because many of us were not born here. And we've graduated with master's degrees. We're public speakers. I'm a speaker with the Maxwell team. I've spoken in schools here, junior schools, high schools, for the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, and I've been paid for that by the Conservatives. So how can they say that my fruition is not good? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. So, it's like, how many more billions do you want to make before you start creating societies that are stable and where people have jobs and can afford to pay their rent and pay their mortgages and buy food? Instead, they're creating poverty. They're creating poverty, and they're telling us that, don't expect a good quality of life. So why should I stay here? What is the appeal? What is the pull for me to stay here? If I get a job in a school in Zimbabwe, teaching English or helping as an administrator or doing something like that, I'll have a better quality of life. Because here, if you look at how the children are, first of all, the schools are not close to the homes. So the parents have to organize a bus to come and pick up the children to take them to the school and then bring them home. It's exactly like the movies. In Zimbabwe, your parents will drop you off at the school. They'll pick you up after the school. They have that connection with you. They have that personal relationship with you. Over here, it's very different. It's very different. I used to cry when I used to have to go to see people, see children off and put them on the buses. because I felt for them, because for me, that's not how I grew up. So if I get something in Zimbabwe, I'm going to go, because it's not worth it to live your life and to know that you're going to be pushed to take medications that you don't need. You're going to be kept on those medications as a preventative measure. And yet you know that if you eat the right foods and you eat healthy, a lot of those things are controllable. And the reality is that we're all getting older. We're not going to live forever. So some of these things, they, with age, you will get them. But some of it is beyond my control, because what they're putting into the foods is causing obesity. The food is not healthy. The food is tasteless. You ask anybody that comes to Canada after living in Africa or living in England, they'll tell you the food is tasteless. It's got no taste. The meat, the chicken, the fish, it's got no taste. Compared to you go home and you eat a nice steak, you eat mincemeat, you eat whatever, you can taste the difference. So, for me, it was a waste of a life here. It really was. I regret coming to Canada, because I've been here for decades now, and they can't give me back those decades. And they're not even trying to make things better. They're not trying. What's the point of having all your degrees and qualifications and all that? Yes, you can volunteer, but at the end of the day, I also need to have a property. I need to be able to buy my food. I need to be able to pay my rent. They're paying slave wages. How can you survive on $11.25 an hour? That's what I was earning for the bulk of my life here. That's what I was earning. And one day's work. Do they expect me to live here on one day's work last year? And they can say, oh, it's the economy, it's not just you. But you know what? People are getting jobs. People are getting jobs and people are moving. So how come nothing's working out for me? People are moving. People are moving back to Nigeria, to Zimbabwe, to Zambia. They're moving to America, to England, to Japan. So how come nothing's working out for me? If it had been, okay, yeah, I understand it takes around 3 years now for people to find jobs, but it's already 3 years for me. It's already 3 years. That first year at Teleperformance, there was hardly any work coming in. The second year I was on EI. So how come not even a contract, not even a full-time contract for 3 months or 6 months? How am I supposed to live, and how am I supposed to provide for my mother? They're very happy to have me volunteer to come and help them, but they don't want to pay me, so how am I supposed to live? No, I'm also a beautiful person. I'm a beautiful woman. I have a nice personality. I've done nothing wrong to anybody in this country or anywhere. So, for me, if I get that job opportunity in Zimbabwe, I'm going to take it and go. And if the school can provide housing and I can stay in the school grounds, that would be even better. Because some of the private schools do offer that. Because for me, this is depressing. It's depressing to sit at home like this. I didn't come to this country to sit around, to be dependent on the government. And even in Zimbabwe, I drove. I didn't get my license, but I drove. I know how to drive a car. I know how to drive. I can't do anything here because I have nothing. I've got expenses coming up. I wrote to all the Catholic charities. Even the government told me that they sent an email saying that you can get money from a non-profit up to 10,000 and you can use that towards your rent. How come no one's helping me? I've helped a lot of people. How come none of the charities are helping me? So why would I stay here? For what? My family can stay here. My mother can stay here. My sister's married here. The rest of them can stay where they are. I don't see a future for myself here. In those 6 or 7 years that I worked at Teleperformance, I did very, very well. And then I upgraded all my furniture. I bought the records I wanted. I bought new clothes. I'm tired of always being put into extreme poverty. And it is extreme. You cannot live, you cannot survive on $733 a month. It's impossible. It's impossible. So that's what I say. I'm also worthy. I'm also a beautiful woman. I'm also educated. I'm also talented. I deserve to get the same opportunities that the Sisters of St. Joseph get and have tickets paid to go to France and give retreats and direct them. I deserve the same. I don't deserve anything less.